Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week, 10 days. For today's second video, about to take us around the 4th of November, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles, which run to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at Beijing Climate Centre today for the next 40 days. The first video up today was the JMA seasonal update, so that's taking us from November through to January 2020 with the long-range seasonal model from the Japanese Meteorological Agency. Have a look at that one and see what the JMA is forecasting for the next 3 months. That, of course, is ahead of the second seasonal model roundup for the winter of 2019-2020, which will be released first video up on Saturday morning. Right, so if I do anything else, I'm going to say hello and a big thank you to our latest patron. So we are now up to 66 patrons for Gav's Weather This. So big thank you to all of our 66 patrons. We very much hope that you are enjoying the content and, of course, particularly winter updates. We hope that you are enjoying what we're doing at Gav's Weather This. Our 66th patron, though, would rather stay anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. If anybody wants to sign up to Patreon or give a donation through PayPal, which I'll talk about in a moment, but they'd rather not have a mention in the video, so just rather stay anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. Just let us know, give us a little note when you sign up or send your donation, what you want in terms of a shout out, and we'll just say, as I'm going to do right now, thank you to this anonymous person. So our 66th patron knows who they are, and I'm just going to say big thank you to you for becoming our 66th patron. You are helping us to pay for gavsweathers.com and keep the content online. So thank you so much to Anonymous for becoming our 66th patron. That really is very special indeed. As I say, there's also PayPal as well, so if you would like to give a donation to Gav's Weather, it's through PayPal, but again, all you need to do is come to Gav's Weather's PayPal page and you sign into your PayPal account. Most people got one of those, of course, and then send a donation to Gav's Weather This, and you're going to get a mention in the videos if you want one. Again, if you'd rather stay anonymous, that's fine, no problem whatsoever. Otherwise, we'll give you a shout out, say thank you so much for doing that. Of course, you might want to mention for your website or for your business website, whatnot. That's absolutely fine as well. We're happy to go to website and give you a plug. So it really is how you want that mention within the video. So big thank you to our donors, our PayPal donors. Big thank you to our patrons, all 66 of you, and a special thank you to Anonymous for becoming our 66th patron. Now, while I'm on the subject of what's going on with Gav's Weather is, we went over 4 million video views at Gav's Weather's YouTube channel yesterday. So, an absolutely phenomenal number. We have had the Gav's Weather's YouTube channel since March 2014. Before that, we had the Gavin Partridge channel, the personal channel where I'm uploading a bunch of Star Wars videos to now. So for a couple of years, we have the web videos on the Gavin Partridge channel, but the Gav's Weather This professional YouTube channel has been going since March 2014. We now, in that time frame, have 4 million, over 4 million video views. That is the number right there. 4,003,863 views to be precise, and of course also got 5,840 subscribers. So again, hello to all of the YouTube subscribers and everybody watching at gavsweathers.com. One or two people have always wondered why our subscriber count is a little bit on the low side compared to the video views. That's primarily because it's split 50-50. The views are split 50-50 between the people who watch on YouTube and the people who watch at gavsweathers.com. So if everybody watched on YouTube, I suppose our subscriber count will probably be over 10,000. I don't know, but I think that is the reason why. But anyway, wherever you watch the videos, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on gavsweathers.com, whether it's on social media, it doesn't matter. Just a big thank you to all of you for watching the videos and for getting involved and getting us now to over 4 million, an absolutely enormous number, 4 million video views. Thank you so much to all of you for doing that. Right, so I think we better get on with the video then. That's going to delay the video a little bit, but I want to get all of that in at the start. So we'll go down to the central temperature, start there, I think, for today's video. So the CET is currently sitting at 11.0, which is an anomaly of 0.1 degree, 0.1 of a degree below average. So actually more or less bang on average for the 23rd of October. That is provisional up to yesterday. Might tick up a little bit in the next couple of days. It's going to be relatively mild, I think, particularly tomorrow and on Friday night, but they're going to fall away through the early part of next week. You're going to get some frosty nights coming up. I've got a feeling this could finish up now somewhere from around 10.0 to 10.5, something like that, but it really will be determined by how cold these nights get. And of course, we might get a bit of a downwards correction coming along as well. Let's have a look at how October has been performing in terms of the CET recently. So this is the Central England temperature page at gabsweathers.com. Has every month CET all the way back to 1659. It's the longest and most consistent temperature record anywhere in the world. But of course, the further back you go, the more unreliable it gets. So once you go back into the 1700s and 1600s, obviously that is just a bit of a snapshot of what the conditions were like back then, but it is quite unreliable. Now this is October's column just here, so you see that in 1659, first year that we've got, October 1659 actually had a central temperature of 3.0. Obviously it could have been a bit above or a bit below, that is too far away. Too far back to be particularly reliable. But anyway, let's scroll down through the years and the decades and centuries, through the 1700s, through the 1800s, into the 1900s. We'll keep going. Eventually, we're going to find the current year, and there it is. So the current year for 2019 is just there, and the central England temperature for September 2019 came out at 14.3. Been a pretty warm year. If we just go back to the CT numbers that we've had through this year. So one or two of the months have been quite close to average. We've got January there at 4.0, then February, March and April. All of those 3 months were over 1 degree above average, exceptionally warm in February. June was about average. May was about average. July and August, of course, May were pretty warm months. September, also a little bit warmer than average at 14.3. And then we come down to October. So it's been quite a warmish year. We haven't had a colder than average month based on the 61 to 1990 temperature series. Possibly we have had one or two cold average months based on 81 to 2010. Though these are our averages just here. So that's 61 to 1990. That's 81 2010. We see that there's very little difference actually between the two average temperature averages for October. So October with 61 to 1990 comes out with an average of 10.6, and then October for 81 to 2010 comes out with an average of 10.7. So very little difference. It's one of the few months, October, that doesn't have much of a difference between the two temperature averages, 81 to 2010 and 61 to 1990. So somewhere around sort of mid-10s is going to be about average. Now last year we actually was again had quite an average October. That's 2018 at 10.6. The year before that, though, 2017, had a warm October at 12.7. 2016, not that far from average at 10.9. 2015 was quite mild in October at 11.0. 2014 was exceptionally mild at 12.5, as was 2013. We're going to be well under those 2 years, definitely. The last time we had what you would class as a properly colder than average October was quite a long time ago. 2012 coming out at 9.7. That was the last time we had what we could definitively say was a cold average October. So in recent years, since 2012, the coolest October has actually been 2018, last year at 10.6. I think we have a chance of beating that if we get 2 or 3 really frosty nights next week. So we could well be on course. I don't think we're going to beat 9.7. I don't think we're going to beat 2012. But we could well be on course for having our coolest October since 2012, so our coolest for quite a few years, actually. It will depend on those cold nights, of course, next week. And it's not going to be a particularly big deviation, so still, even then, we'll probably be quite close to average, really. If we go a bit further back, we also have 2008 coming out at 9.7. So 2012 and 2008 were tied, if you like, at 9.7. In between, we have 2011, which was a very warm October at 12.6. 2010 was quite a coldish October at 10.3. Not that far from average, really, but it was a bit on the cool side. And then 2009 was very mild October at 11.6. And the last time we had a really, really cold October was this year, back in 2003. This is genuinely cold October at 9.2. And when was the last time we went under 9 degrees in October? We have to scroll back a very long way now to 1993, that year just there, where we had an October CT of 8.5. And the year before it, 1992, actually had an October CT of 7.8. So it can get a lot colder than sort of low 10s and upper 9s, which we class now as quite cold Octobers. But that then, in 93 and 92, a pair of much, much colder Octobers indeed. So it's been a long time since we had a very cold October, actually, 1993 and 1992. And the last time I had a cold autumn, a properly cold autumn, was probably 1993 as well. We have all 3 of the autumn months coming out substantially colder than average in 1993. So it's been a long time since we had a cold autumn. Of course, we did have 2008, which was quite a coolish autumn, 13.5, 9.7, but November was relatively mild. That autumn, that October, I should say, did contain the snow at the end of October 2008. And then 2012, I suppose you could class that as quite a cool, quite a cold autumn. September at 13.0, October at 9.7. But yeah, November not particularly cold at 6.8. So just a little bit below average, I suppose. Getting 71 2010 anyway for November 2012. I think really you have to go back to 1993 for the last time you can say we had a genuinely cold, a genuinely cold autumn, which is little bit odd given that we have had cold winters over the past few years. For example, we have 09-10 just here. That was a properly cold winter. We've also had really quite a cold spring as well. That was in 2013. Had a very cold spring then. For summers, we haven't really had a tremendously cold summer, but 2012 was a bit of a grim summer, really. And of course, we also have 2007. The CETs aren't dramatically cold for those summers, but I think in summer actually it's rainfall that's more important than temperature, because of course the temperature can hold up relatively well by night, but that's no good if it's pouring with rain 24/7 and the daytime maximum temperatures are not getting much above 16 or 17 degrees. And that's the kind of thing we have both in summers 2007 and 2012 as well. But for autumn, we haven't had a genuinely cold autumn since 1993, a very, 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 very long time ago. Anyway, I thought you'd find that little divergence in the video interesting. Let's crack on then, have a look at the weather next week to 10 days. So these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flowcharts for the next week, 10 days. Got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which I'll look in a moment, is on the bottom, 500 millibars. 80 feet area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure. I've been moved around by the jet stream running above. Red and orange extrapolates to above average heights, which is high pressure. Blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. Look what the ECM is doing in the 7 to 10 day time frame. taking us into the first week of November, has above average heights in the North Atlantic, extending back into Greenland, below average heights over and to the east and southeast of the country, and so this would leave us pulling in really quite chilly, maybe even cold east or northeasterly winds, or north to northeasterly winds, I suppose I should say. So the ECM probably won't be that unsettled because the Atlantic is blocked off, but the ECM would certainly be very chilly as we get through to the sort of days 8, 9, 10 time frame, and you would expect the wind to be coming in from the north, giving at the very least a risk of overnight frost. This is how the GFS is looking. So it has above average heights in the North Atlantic, extending them up to Greenland, but not extending them quite as far back into Greenland. Below average heights again to our east and south. Just a little bit more of an Atlantic influence there. So instead of pulling down like the Arctic winds that the ECM appears to be bringing down across the country in the day 10 time frame, the GFS is quite cool, it's quite chilly, but there's a bit of modification from the Atlantic, if you see what I mean. We're sort of bringing the air around the top of this ridge more from the northwest, from like the North Atlantic, as opposed to being a true sort of Arctic source there, which I think the ECM is. Nevertheless, they're both pretty cool solutions as we're moving into the beginning of November. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Let's come to this one at Redcar up in the north of England today, the northeast of England. So red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Redcar. We're starting off a little bit above average with the upper air temperatures at the moment. They're going to be dropping though over the next few days, and you see the trend is very much downwards, below average, quite substantially so, as we move through to the end of October, sort of month's end, and into the beginning of November, quite substantially and significantly below that red line. That does look like an actual cold spell of weather that's setting up there in terms of average. Of course, it won't be dramatically cold because we're only talking about end of October, early November, but certainly going to be quite substantially below average. Possibly a bit of a sign of a recovery in temperature late on. That's a very, very long way off, and I wouldn't give that any sort of credence whatsoever. Rather unsettled again as well. We've got a deluge. We've got rain today, then a deluge is coming up late tomorrow and through to Saturday. We do go into a drier spell though at the end of weekend and sort of through to the middle of next week, let's say. So you're going to be around 3 or 4 days of drier weather there. But as we come towards the end of the month and then the beginning of November, the rainfall spikes are coming back. Looks like it's turning more unsettled really through the early part of November. So as it has been with the video updates over the past few days, it remains a cool and unsettled scene for the early part of November. Temperature anomalies from the 24th of October to 1st of November are forecast to be below average, a colder than average week coming up for the UK and for Ireland as well. Precipitation anomalies, a lot of variation. I'm not sure how reliable these are at the moment, actually. I would have thought that should be quite a bit wetter than that's showing. It is showing drier than average for Scotland and Northern Ireland and much of southern and southeast England with a wetter than average slice through this middle part of the country. But I would have thought that should be a little bit more unsettled than that. But who knows? We are going to be moving into high pressure for the early part of next week. So let's get on to that. This is how things are looking on Sunday. So on Sunday, we're getting rid of the area of low pressure. It's going to bring us a lot of wet and windy weather through tomorrow and into Saturday. That's moving out of the way on Sunday. And then we've got this ridge building out to our west. That's turning wind into a colder northerly. So through the early part of next week, we have this area of high pressure setting up to our northwest, close to Iceland. That's a blocking area of high pressure. It's bringing cold winds from the northeast around that high pressure. So certainly we'll be feeling very, very chilly, if not cold, for the early part of next week, and certainly cold enough for night frost where skies are clear. There's the upper air temperature showing the -5 Celsius ice firm is through the north of the country. If there's any precipitation around, that's probably enough to allow that precipitation to be on the wintry side particularly, but not perhaps exclusively over high ground. That's the middle of next week, still under that high pressure. Nothing's happened to introduce a milder feed, so that's still going to be pretty cold, especially so at night. And then in the second half of next week, this high pressure sort of goes a little bit further out into the Atlantic, and we start pulling cold winds from the northeast again. actually. We're moving up towards day 10 now, with high pressure sitting just to the west of us then. A little bit more modification. Sort of on the 500 millibar high anomaly flow chart. A little bit more modification coming around the top of the high. So just a little bit less cold perhaps as we get to day 10. But still probably cold enough for night frost, especially so for more southern and western parts of the country. In the more extended range with this GFS run, well, look at this. We have this area of low pressure just here around Iceland on Monday the 4th of November. But by Tuesday the 5th, by Bonfire Night, and by the way, we will have an update for Halloween and Bonfire Night very, very shortly. Not sure if it'll be tonight or tomorrow, but at some point within the next couple of days, there will be an update for Halloween. One or two people have asked me about that, and Bonfire Night. So coming back to Bonfire Night, that's how we are looking on the 5th of November. And that low pressure started around Iceland on the 4th, has gone in that direction, is sitting in the North Sea on Tuesday the 5th. Now, when you see low pressures diving southwards like that with a jet stream, again, that shows you that the atmosphere is behaving a little bit abnormally, because typically low pressure should be doing something like that with the jet stream at this time of year. So when low pressure sort of breaks away from Iceland and starts pushing down in that direction, allowing the ridge to move in that direction, then it starts to get a little bit interesting, because it shows that something a little bit unusual is happening with the atmosphere. Moving to the end of a GFS run, we're trying to get ourselves back into a flat westerly flow, but high pressure is having a go also, building across Scandinavia. So where that will go, I'm not sure beyond that. That's as far as we can get to for GFS on Saturday the 9th of November. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, with this one, we're bringing down northerly winds as we get through to the beginning of next week. Cold northerlies pushing down across the country. High pressure centred out to west of us. By middle of next week, that high pressure sitting over the country, still cold, and certainly cold enough for significant night frost. That high pressure is still there to the second half of the week, and then it starts to move up towards Scandinavia, interestingly, as we get through to the end of next week. This is Friday the 1st of November. We're trying to get that high pressure up to Scandinavia, and we do actually manage to turn wind into the east there just before day 10. That is Saturday the 2nd of November. Wind is beginning to swing into the east and start to bring cold air in from the east as well. You see the -5 Celsius iceberg pushing through the country. That would again be cold enough for hard night frost. That's how we look at day 10. So the ridge extending into the country then, cutting off the easterly sort of going down into southeastern and eastern parts of Europe. But again, certainly enough for quite hard and significant overnight frost. ECM looks like this. Again, we've got those winds turning into north in the early part of next week with high pressure around Iceland. We're bringing quite a coldish air mass from the northeast. And then it breaks this significant area of low pressure for in the second half next week. So this is different to the other two models. Going really unsettled again through the second half next week with lots of rain piling in off the Atlantic. And as the low clears into the North Sea, we then pull down this gale force north to northeast wind, which will be a cold wind, would be enough to bring snow showers to parts of Scotland. This is a very cool and potentially cold start to November that we are looking at here across all model output, although they are varying a little bit in the solution. It looks like a very, very seasonable start to November indeed. We get to day 10, which is Sunday the 3rd of November, and we're under this ridge then of high pressure, still pretty cool. And it looks like we might be having a go trying to get one up towards Scandinavia as well. This is the precipitation forecast, a rainfall forecast from that ECM run. So, of course, we've got wet weather coming up from the south today, giving east parts of the country quite a bit of wet weather. Into tomorrow, a real deluge moving in from the Atlantic. Could be a little bit of snow over the Pennines and the Welsh Mountains with that as well. The rain sort of gets stuck across much of England and Wales through the course of Friday into Saturday. This is midday Saturday, still pouring with rain across many parts of England, Wales. Again, suggestion of a little bit of hill snow across the North Midlands and the Pennines. Late Saturday, that front pushes away to the southeast, and we turn things drier but colder as we go through into Sunday. Wintry showers peppering northern coast. Wet weather into the southwest by the middle of next week, and then later next week, again, another real deluge hits us as that deep area of low pressure breaks in off the Atlantic in around a week's time. Remember, GFS and the GM don't really show that significant low As the low pulls out into the north, it brings down these gale force northerly winds with wintry showers, particularly in the north, and showers running down the east coast. Could be significant snow on northern high ground with those northerly winds, I would have thought. Then the winds falling light as we get to day 10, so frost becomes an increasing probability. These are the options on the table in the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is the 3rd of November. We have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with an area of above average heights out to our northwest around Iceland. Below average heights to the east, and we're bringing in this north to northeast wind. So it's not overly unsettled, but it will certainly be on the cold side with that. And then another 14 with a mid-Atlantic ridge going up to Greenland, the trough of low pressure closer to us. So again, that's unsettled, but that's cold, I should say, but it's more unsettled, particularly for the eastern parts of the country. 8 have a high pressure around Greenland, low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. It's a little bit milder and quite unsettled. 7 with a mid-Atlantic ridge and a trough of low pressure over coast. That's a deep trough too. That'll be really unsettled. 4 with hints of a Scandinavian high and bringing in cold east to northeasterly winds. And 3 with a ridge just to the north of Scotland extending down into the UK. Lots of options in terms of the exact detail, but the broad theme is definitely for a cold start to November here, I think. And in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It gets us to the 8th of November. 12 members of the ECM ensembles with a ridge still there around Greenland. Below average heights to our south and southeast. They'll be bringing in cold east or northeast winds and quite unsettled with those too. Another 12 with a Scandinavian high, ridging into the country. The wind coming in from the east with that one. 11 with low pressure out to our northwest. That's a milder but unsettled scenario with those 11. Another 8 with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. Again, that's quite a mild but unsettled scenario. And then 8 have a deep trough of low pressure just to the south of us and a large blocking area of high pressure. See if we can change the colour. Up here to our north, that will be cold and unsettled, bringing in easy winds. This could be the coldest start to November for quite a few years, I have to say, based on the model output that we're seeing today. Whether it's settled or unsettled, it could be the coldest start to November for quite a long time. Finally, just have a look at Beijing Climate Centre for the next 40 days. I know this has been a bit of an extended video, but we're drawing to an end now. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into 10-day periods. The first 10-day period takes us from the 26th of October to the 4th of November. Coming 10 days with above average heights to the north and east, below average heights out to the west. And with this one, we're bringing in pretty chilly easterly winds, I think. Reasonable amount of dry weather. Then we go through the next 10-day period, which is the 5th to the 14th of November. Low pressure is in control, bringing in a strong westerly flow. So that's, of course, much more unsettled, below average heights dominating from the Atlantic. The next 10-day period gets us from the 15th to 24th of November, above average heights in the middle of the Atlantic. Hints of northern blocking too, with a weak area of below average heights just to our east. We're probably bringing quite cold northerly winds there, so that could be a little bit on the wintry side, a bit of a cold snap. And then we go through to the next 10-day period, which is the 25th of November, actually to the beginning of December, to the 4th of December. Looks like we're going back into a milder pattern then, above average heights out to our west and into UK, below average heights up to the north. And the jet stream is coming in a little bit like that from the west. So, that's all very speculative. Coming back to a more immediate time frame, this does look as though it's going to be a cold end to October with night frost, and it looks like these pretty cold conditions are going to extend into the early part of November as well. As I say, there is the potential here, I think, for this to be the coldest start to November that we've had for quite a long time. I have to think about when the last time was that we had a cold start to November, but it could well be that we're going to see our first colder than average month, albeit only slightly, but our first colder than average month of the year for October, and this could then extend into November as well. Could we have a colder than average autumn? It's far too early to say that. We know that September came out a little bit above average. October is only going to be a little bit below average. So I suppose it will depend what's going to happen in November. November looks like it's starting on quite a cold note, but of course that might not necessarily extend through the whole of the month. We shall see. Tomorrow we've got month-end look ahead with JMA Friday, and we'll also have a week 10-day video update for then as well. Or then as well, I should say. At some point, either late today or possibly tomorrow, we're going to have a look at Bonfire Night and Halloween as well. So watch out for that. But that's all now. Extended video today. So I hope you found it interesting and informative. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.